What up, people? It's your friendly neighborhood shooter, broadcast you live from the west side. Hold on. It's morning time for me. But I just wanted to share a tip for those that work with Lightroom, that are photographers, whether you're a studio photographer or if you're a outdoor, natural light, anything. If you work with Lightroom Classic, and recently I just learned this. I done had Lightroom all this time and never even knew this, right? So, if you work with Lightroom Classic, not the Lightroom, the weird one, the teal color one. We talking like the baby blue colored square LRC Lightroom Classic. This tip is for you, my boy and girls. So, I'm going to share my screen. Somebody's always texting me. I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you my workflow with what I do for studio shots. So let me jump right over here to record. You'll see the big screen, of course. Okay, all right, eBay, thank you. So as you can see right here, second cam, but as you can see right here, I got a family, and it looks a little, to me it just looks a little washed, you know what I'm saying? So if yours is giving that washed look, what I found out is this little button right here. I didn't know it was a button. So if you switch it up and down, auto sync. Didn't know what that meant until I started working with it. So let's say we select, or let's adjust the contrast. If we just pull the contrast off a little bit, it's gonna pull the contrast for all of the ones that we selected down here. I was like, yo, did not know that, right? So let's continue messing with it a little bit. If you know, vibrance, you know, that kind of controls your pinks a little bit, right? Let's bring the highlights down. So that's kind of how you would adjust your okay, somewhere like that, right? So that's kind of how you would adjust your image in Lightroom, right? But I just recently found out that not only can you do it that way, but up here, if you got the new Lightroom Classic, you can select a color range. Now these are all Lightroom's AI mode. So like, say we select pinks, right? Excuse me, we're gonna select the pinks, and we're gonna kind of, you know, refine it a little bit, right? We're gonna up it, and then now it's selecting the pinks for everything in those shots. So everything that we selected down here, as long as this auto sync button is on, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna subtract the color range of the skin tones. So we just gonna subtract those browns up out of there, so that way they not really affected. You know, let me go and subtract all them browns out of there, make sure they skins is all subtracted. I still see a little bit of her lips, but just an example, right? So right now we're just adjusting the pinks, right? So I'm gonna just put in here, I'm gonna just put pinks, right? I just want to adjust the pinks. So with just the pinks, I can bring the saturation up on the pinks. If I wanted to, I can switch their colors to something else, ever so slightly, you know what I'm saying, not nothing too crazy or whatnot. But let me see if I push the shadows down. Alright, we got a little bit of shadows. Push the whites down a little bit. Okay, them pinks coming back. Them pinks coming back. So if you got carnations in your shop, you know what I'm saying, bring them carnations back. Let's check it out. Boom. So big difference from this image to that image. Of course I wouldn't do that. That's just an extreme version. But if you look at any other shot, all of the pinks have been adjusted. So your workflow just got that much faster, bro. Like, seriously. So alright, let's take another example, right? So let's do these, right? So I'm gonna select these. Now if you work in the studio, then you know background stuff is like, if you got paper, in this case I got a cyc wall that I built, but this background of them, it's kind of got like a little yellow orangish, and that's because I got a wooden roof, so you can see a little bit of my studio right here, and that just goes all the way up. So don't worry, what we're gonna do is we're gonna select the people, you know, have them select the people. They gonna do the AI update mask. They selecting the people. Now you may have to go through and tweak it a little bit, because as you can see, some of this wasn't selected, some of her shoulder wasn't selected. Normally it do like a real bang up job, but this is like a hard shot for them to kind of match, because they jumping this in action, you know what I'm saying? But they just put this invert button, turn this invert on, boom. So now in theory, again, like I say, it's not doing the best of jobs, but it did a pretty good job here. So right here it selected the background. So now I'm gonna go into my customs, and as you can see, I got backdrop blur. Boom, I'm gonna drop my backdrop blur on there, and now it's fully cleaned up. You can't really see it, it's not white enough for you. Well, let's drop the saturation on that thing. Drop the saturation. Let's bring the whites up just a little bit. Yeah, time about, boy, we in there. So just a quick little tip for you in Lightroom. If you work in the studio, this is how you can do this. Alright, so let me switch back to the other camera. So just like I said, so if you work in the studio in Lightroom and you struggling to keep them backgrounds clean, you trying to make sure you doing the best, you know, backdrop upkeep. You know, you don't want to go through and just edit all those joints in Photoshop. I use Affinity, but backdrop is annoying. But if you have any questions on how I did my background cleanup, or if you want to see more in-depth background cleanup, or just more in-depth with just the Lightroom stuff, yo, drop your boy a message. I will definitely make a video for you. But man, like I was like 4 months old when I just saw this. So it's just a quick tip. Probably wasn't that quick, but just a tip for you. I'm about to continue with my coffee break, and I'm about to continue editing these shots, man. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. You know what I'm saying? But do me a favor, man, like this. You know what I'm saying? Tell somebody about it. Share it. You know what I mean? Help your boy out. You know what I mean? But you know what it is. Roll Tide. Here we go. And I'm out.